Only premiership coaches need apply tonight. The men who know what it takes to lift the cup set up the September quest.
The last teams for the regular season have been lodged as the Suns steel themselves for the must-win clash with Essendon.
And Harley Reid extends his time with the Eagles, the number one pick resisting the long-term lure, adding 2 years to his contract.
We've talked about is to step into it, embrace all of it.
Get in the room and fix it.
It's unedifying for a senior coach to do that.
They're on the side of caution with the brain. Take the man off.
They played the best footy I've ever seen at the start of the season. And if you'd said Brisbane lift the cup, I would have said, of course they do.
It's the stuff that legends are made of.
What is holding the ball? I don't think I could answer it clearly right now.
I could do something wrong, you know, and I need to go. And the board sacks me.
The fans love it, and with no fans, no 360, right?
Winter bit back hard today in Melbourne, Gaz, and in the western suburbs, the most miserable sight you could imagine in a footy season. The Western Bulldogs, who are condemned to a purgatory no team should ever have to live, were sent out onto the training track just in case Gold Coast take the gas tomorrow night. How would you have gone with this?
I would have made them train for 3 hours. Mouth guards in, contest after contest after contest. No, the alternative would be sitting in a pub with an open fire going, just drowning your sorrows, Gerard. That's what probably they were staring at if we didn't have this convoluted extra game. But no, these are rare and unique scenes, aren't they? Never to be repeated. Never, ever to be repeated, because it doesn't matter how strong-willed you are. Your mind just goes to tomorrow night and you think, nah. I think, nah.
If you're a Bulldogs player, just put binge on, watch the new season at 12. Don't subject yourself to it. And have a WhatsApp group. If it's necessary to turn on with 10 minutes to go, then flick across.
I don't know many Gold Coast Southern supporters. We have one here. God love him. So for their sake, I hope they win. But imagine if they didn't. It would be one of the greatest stories. Not great. All the backtracking that they have to go on from all of the pundits.
And then they'll beat the Giants.
They'll beat them. All of a sudden they're in a semi-final. They'll get to the prelim and then we'll go, let's go back to that week after they lost that game.
Anyway, we digress. Here's what we have going tonight. 3 premiership coaches all lined up. Chris Scott, Craig McRae and Chris Fagan to join us. And then they come into their own at this time of year with the news, with the contract news, midweek tackle, Lawrence leading Macca and Ralphie, who are hard at work. Tomorrow night will be a pre-game show ahead of Gold Coast and Essendon, and first crack will come in the immediate aftermath. Damien Hardwick will join us in the build-up to a historic night on offer for the Suns. And then Thursday night, the AFL Awards, the All-Australian team will be unveiled, the Coaches Association Player of the Year, the Lee Matthews Trophy for the MVP. We've got to look at the 44-man squad from which the All-Australian will be selected. 4 teams dominate with 5 each: Adelaide, Brisbane, Gold Coast and the Western Bulldogs. There were none for Carlton, Essendon, West Coast and North Melbourne. The most contentious of those would be Tristan Sherry, I think, who for a long time was thought to be the ruckman. 28 players are striving for their first blazer. 2, Hugh McCluggage has been in 4 squads. Tom Liberatore has been in 2. Will they see the main squad this time? Max Scorn a chance for a record equalling 8th All-Australian, and only 8 of last year's team return to the squad. So you do your picks for tomorrow night.
I will. There's a couple there that jump out at me, which I think are great footy stories. So we'll get stuck into that tomorrow night.
All right, let's have a look at the teams that have landed for tomorrow night's game. There are 3 changes for Gold Coast. They are all by choice. Certainly 2 of them make them significantly stronger. Rioli and Humphrey are back from injury. Jake Rogers, who we haven't seen since round 9, has been reignited. Sexton, Adams and Lockie Goulburn. Max Lawton points out he will be the first player in league history to both debut and be dropped in the same round. And Essendon get back their 2 late outs from last week. Durham and Laverde makes them stronger. Gresham hasn't made the trip for personal reasons and Johnson's been omitted.
Yeah, so both teams are stronger for the ins, which will hopefully, from an Adelaide Essendon point of view, make it a little bit more competitive, but no mucking around from Dimmer's perspective. I think it's really important, Bailey Humphrey, to come back into this side, as is Dan Rioli. We spoke to Dimmer a couple of weeks ago, and he said Dan was sort of eyeing off a comeback of the first week of the finals. He may have been a little bit optimistic. So he's been, I wouldn't say rushed back in, he's ready to go. But no, this is, you can't misstep here from a Gold Coast Suns point of view, and they've picked a stronger side than they did last week. That's all you can do.
All right, we'll dig deep into that tomorrow night. The contract news as it's landed today. So Harley Reid has extended his by 2 years at West Coast. So he had next year to run and he's added 2. This is the perfect contract, in my opinion, to do. It's the one that in the modern landscape gets looked over too much. It allows Harley to grow into the player that he's going to be through years 4 and 5. There's heavy incentives. If he becomes the Eagles' best player, he'll earn $2 million during those years. And it allows West Coast to grow with him and show him that they are worthy of his long-term commitment. For manager and for player and for club, I personally salute this.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ticks all round here. This is the Chris Judd template being deployed with Harley. And it's a great template. Juddy gave great service to the club, captained them to a premiership and then came back to Victoria. And I'm not suggesting that Harley will come back, but it gives him the option to come back. So Juddy came back after 6 years. This sees Harley through 5. And then, as you say, they'll make a decision with all of the information in front of them. It's good. Next year he plays hopefully with Elliot Yeo in the midfield alongside him, with Tom McCarthy, who's had a fantastic season. You throw Harley in there, Waterman at the other end of the ground. Baker will be better for having a year. Chesser looks better as the year wore on. So he will enjoy his football much more next year, one would hope. And it's just a great sign for a team that's been kicked in the head a fair bit over the last couple of years.
Yep, it's important all round, so let's hope that that goes well. On a Carlton front, as the car park today was a bit of a spectacle as the exit interviews began, and Jack Silvani confirmed to the club that he's going to exercise his rights for free agency. This is what he was saying on the way in.
Have you got your head around potentially leaving the club?
Yeah, potentially. It's something I'll work through in the next couple of days and it'll all come out in due time.
What would it mean to you to walk away from the club, your boyhood club?
Obviously, I love the club very much, so it would be a big decision to make. Thanks.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
It is a big decision because it's a name that has bound the generations at Carlton, but this has felt inevitable for the back half of the season, and it feels like a choice between Collingwood and the Bulldogs. Yep. There's no need to tip his hand yet because the free agency period doesn't start till after the grand final.
Bit undignified. I understand the boys there doing the door stopping have to do their job, but I wish there was a better way to do that. And jamming microphones in his face and Charlie Curnow's I understand, I get it, but I'd like to see it move better than that. Where he ends up, well, that'll be interesting. One of 2 you'd suspect. Maybe we might talk to one of our coaches about that.
They're both good landing zones for him. They both have needs.
Both needed.
He fills them both, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not he's not the big key that probably the Western Bulldogs need, but he's a great support act.
All right, let's get into our agenda, and it does belong to the past 3 premiership coaches, those who have done it, those who know how to do it. We start with Craig McRae, whose Magpies have lived both journeys in the same season, runaway leaders and holding on by the skin of their teeth.
Don't you want to be them? They're top of the pops, Collingwood. The team to beat in 2025. A 1-point win to the Pies. You just can't beat them in close finishes. You just can't beat them.
History says it's hard to lead wire to wire, so you're not quite going to go wire to wire.
We did it the other year.
You did.
I keep hearing that. We're playing too well, apparently. I can't have that. Why do you want us to play worse?
No.
I just don't get it. We're in the positions of getting better. That's what we try to do. We want to improve ourselves. You saw us today. We've got a heap of improvements left in us.
Collingwood has done nothing less than salvaged its premiership mission.
16 wins and a good percentage. I'm sure anyone in this room would be pretty happy with that at the start of the year. It's a crazy year when 16 sort of, you're not sure where you're going to land. We celebrated that just after with our whole group, and we put ourselves, we've got a pulse now, we're alive.
Top 4 finish and a trip back to Adelaide, having just done that a couple of weeks ago. The Collingwood coach, Craig McRae, is with us in the studio. Craig, always great to have you on 360. Welcome.
Good to see you, Gerard, Garry.
I was driving home on Friday night, listening on the radio, got home for the last quarter thinking, did you get to it? Did you get to the last quarter of Port Adelaide?
I stayed around in the rooms, funny enough,
Yep.
and left my press conference and went straight into the little coach's room there. and we had a gathering of people there, and I've never
ride it?
I've never cheered for Port, but
Yes.
I did that night. Yeah, no, I was riding every bump. Yep.
Does it feel, having won a premiership and then missed the final series altogether? I mean, the feeling that you have now, it's not a greater appreciation, because everyone knows how important it is, but nice to be back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you set yourself a long time ago. We've had a long time to think about this campaign, and a lot of hard work going into it. And I was really excited after the game. One that get ourselves moving, and it gets Melbourne played extremely well, and to get over the line with some energy of wanting to win, and then just to know that we're in the finals, potentially top 4, it was really exciting. Yeah.
2 years ago, you used this week especially well. It became the starting off point for the club's documentary. So have you been thinking about this week, how to frame it, what you're about to do, given what you've been through before?
Yeah, I haven't slept, Gerard.
Yes.
There's been many little things trying to get this right. We've got a gathering at the MCG tomorrow afternoon, and we set a new thing, because it's a new season, and we realised that, right back from qualifying days, you've got to get yourself in a position to be here. We are here now, and we'd like to think we've got as good a chance as anyone, and we want to reset our focus.
Is this a team that can gather in that sort of way?
Yeah, well, we got accused of having the most experience and the oldest list in the competition. This is when you want it, and so we like to think there's a lot of reasons why we can go deep.
It's an interesting. That in itself is interesting, isn't it? Because the narrative was really strong pre-season rather. You lose that first game, the ridiculous knee-jerk. We get all that, but there's attrition. You know it as well as anyone. And then the back half's been, it's been hard work. But you've got there. Do you put that down to that in any way, shape or form?
Oh, there's no doubt. We had a period where we played 3 games in 12 days, and we looked at ourselves in the mirror and said, I don't think we managed that well. Without disrespecting Hawthorn, we were enormous against us that night. So there's always little things you're gathering along the way. Jared Wade and our high performance team have done a really, really good job. We're in good shape. Our numbers say that around GPS, and the health of the list is pretty good.
So when we look at those numbers, what struck me about all this is, as you were losing games, and you got a bit of a whack there from the Hawks, but when you go back and look at your defensive numbers, your defensive stuff stood up really well throughout all that.
Yeah. No, we've won one of our last one, and we're on a roll. No, we look at the things that matter for us, and there's some stuff in that we looked at wasn't good enough, but a lot of close losses to good teams, and a couple of those away, and the Freo form stacks up, and now we played really well against them. But we're the best defence in the comp over 24 rounds. Those numbers don't lie.
So back to Adelaide, and we spoke to Matthew Nix about this last night. Given all that transpired, do you expect there to be any residual? Do you expect to be walking into an even more hostile environment?
Is it possible? I'm not sure. I don't know. I think you balance it all up, and you realise that was a record crowd that ever been at Adelaide Oval. A great combative game. We thought we probably learnt good lessons from that night, and I'm sure they have too. It'll be interesting how that plays out. Lessons learnt against each other. I don't know. I'd like to think not. Let the game be the game and embrace the contest for what is.
And what you have against that is it's an environment in which you have thrived, and it's a team against whom you have thrived. And the last result, I would say, is inconclusive and demanded a rematch.
Yeah. That's you'd like to think that the numbers of the night were unrealistic, 71 inside 50s to whatever. I wouldn't be banking on that game. And we've always had a close game, so I wouldn't have thought there's a huge advantage either way. But we understand we're going over the team that finished top. They've won 12 games in a row or something like that. So we know what we're in for. We're going to have to play our absolute best to beat an opposition that clearly you're on top of the ladder for a reason. That's the feedback. Yeah,
we spoke to Nixie last night, and when we walked away from that game as commentators, you go, wow, we haven't seen one like that before. With the look of it and the numbers, what's it going to look like again?
Yeah, well, the conditions sort of made it difficult to move the ball. Both teams were prepared to have spares. I'm not sure if they'll want to do that again or if we want to do that again. We'll wait and see. But there's a real good balance of the contest. You look at across every line, there's that's a good matchup, or that's going to be a challenging part of the game. There's just something about these two teams that really challenge each other at their best.
The medical work has been done. It doesn't seem great for Jeremy Howe. What have you been told?
Well, he defies logic in his own mind, at least. He said to me today he's a good healer, as he did once before, and he's going to run tomorrow, and he's apparently without knowing all the details of this type of injury, that it's probably the best result for him to have a bit more of a a serious tear to the adductor, and that allows him to now just heal the scar tissue. So we've got hope. 3 to 4 is probably optimistic, but we'll wait and see.
So 3 to 4 doesn't have him playing, does it?
Well, we've still got a week before we play again, so we'll wait and see. Again, his words out of his mouth today is keep the faith, and we'll just see how it transpires.
So you lose one, but you've gained DeGoey, who there was just this familiar look about it on Friday night.
Yeah, no, it's pleasing. And I said post-game I didn't probably expect that. I probably didn't think that was going to be the case based on what I'd been seeing and the time out of the game that he had. But his power's back. When he first was going to play his VFL game, he trained like this.
Right.
I thought, and everyone's just going, whoa, we're a bit of match play, and he's bursting out of stoppages, breaking tackles and kicking long goals like that. That's trademark Geordie, and going to be a new dad. He's really happy in himself and smiling, which is what we want from all our players.
You brought him when he came back. I don't know if you started him in the centre square, but he certainly was in there early. So there's no protecting. This is him and what he can do.
Oh, probably the early. I think first came back after VFL. We were a bit temperamental about putting him in for the long journey of it, and we're sort of managing time around that. He's become more of a mid in the last couple of weeks. It's just basically mid and less forward. Early days was a bit more forward mid, so that might be his path from here on in. How
did Brody Mychek go with the wrist scan?
Well, I don't like going to medical meetings early in the weeks because they tend to be not so glowing. But my reports are that most of our players will be fit and available to play. So we'll just have to wait how that works out. And I'd be surprised if most teams aren't now bruised and battered in some capacity. Some play with a little bit more this time of the year.
This far into the Scott Pendlebury journey, did he learn a new trick in the last quarter on Friday night?
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away around tactically, but I'm just amazed at his influence on our team still. Like he's 423 games, I think, on record. And I was just chatting to someone today, maybe the other coaches. Arguably, he's played better this year than last. And it's just the way he can find the space to, he's taking kick-ins and taking on. Is this the one here? Yeah, he's taking on Pickett here. I'm going, what? Just the confidence.
Did he do this himself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just took it upon himself.
Just take him on. I don't know if I would have done that my first year. Like he's doing.
On the Cosy Pickett.
Cosy Pickett. And then all of a sudden changes the game. And no, he's remarkable and just continues to just turn up for us. And again, we go into finals time. I think everyone would be craving to have a Scott Pendlebury in their team right now, wouldn't they?
Oh God, yeah. Well, so how about you as a coach going back in this time round? So you've premiership. Sat back and watched it all last year, and now here you are again. Are you better prepared, do you think, to coach in a final season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I'll have a chat in a month's time, but we feel like there's nothing that's going to come across our path that we haven't sort of experienced before, and that's exciting in itself. I think within time and in my 50s now, you realise how close you are now. That's why I just know it's a whole new ball game, and you don't have to have style points. You're not going for a percentage now, and you just got to beat the opposition in front of you. And then if you don't do that, lucky enough qualifying fourth, you get another chance to do it. And then you're in a prelim, and anything matters, anything goes. I mean, so I'd like to think I'm better placed experience-wise, but see how we go.
You're in good company with that group there. You spoke to us straight away on Friday night, and you're big on the reset. You sold that message hard. This is a brand new season, so you don't have to give much away. But the MCG tomorrow, how significant is that in all of this?
Yeah, I'd like to think it's. Significance is an interesting word, but it'll redirect our focus. And I'm a bit of a connector, so I'd like to connect people, and we'll do an exercise where we'll do that, and then we'll have dinner together in the MCG.
Right.
And there's about 90 people coming along, and staff and players, and
so it's just an internal
club thing. Yeah, and we'll. It's not going to be anything that you're going to go, that's going to change my world, but you'd like to think it redirects our focus for the next period, and then put all our energy into that.
You've got 3 in All-Australian reckoning, both Dacos boys and Jamie Elliott too. Yeah. For a period of time, he was absolutely exceptional. What would it mean to him if he got the nod?
This year in particular, Jamie being in the leadership group, he's grown so much. He's come, gone to another level with his footy, but I think he's gone another level as a person inside our environment, which we're really wrapped with his growth. It'll mean a lot to him and us. We want to be the environment that creates that, and we love our players being celebrated. There's 3. Darcy Cameron would be pretty stiff, I would have thought, taking that many marks. Yeah, we'd like to think that we'll celebrate these guys at some stage. Maybe tomorrow could be a good opportune time to do that.
And without directing you too far from the here and now, Jack Silvani has told Carlton he's a free agent. He's going to use that. You're clearly in the mix there. Are you hopeful he's going to choose you?
Yeah, well, we had a date and he hasn't called. And he's got a call from dating someone else, I hear. So I'm not
you haven't had a second yet?
Oh, no, I don't do second dates in this place. I'll leave it up to others. But yeah, apparently the Bulldogs are meeting with him too. So I don't know where it lands, but we'd like to continue to grow, as I've always said, and make our club a destination club for guys like him to come. So we'll wait and see on that one.
There's another really significant figure in this town who you've had a link with in Craig Bellamy, who's about to coach his 600th game with Melbourne Storm. I just wondered what's going through your mind there.
Unbelievable. I was asked to do a little short message to him last week. 600 games and just the continuous nature of being in the top 4, top 2, and it is remarkable. And that club, that culture. I spent a small part of my life there. I was lucky enough to see some of the things in a sanctum and trying to get those things to Collingwood around family and other parts. But no, I wish the Storm all the best, and Craig's is one of the best of all time.
What is one quality, for those that haven't been up close with him, we all sit back in awe, what is one quality that you
Consistency. I think he's just completely consistent and he drives those standards. I think he's changed a fair bit. I see little bits of him change, like that the players are more engaged with him now. He's a lot different than what he was maybe 10 years ago. I think he would be the first to admit that. But incredible driver of culture and what a great role model.
And for your Magpie Army, you've got a Magpie mega draw for September as the stakes are really high. And here there's a chance to win cars, caravans, European Emirates flights and the like. So that's your QR code to join in the fun there.
Yeah, we should buy a ticket, Gary.
Oh, will be. $25. You're selling?
I was going to sell 3 for $5.
$3 for $5.
Second prize a meat tray.
That's a far cry from the prizes we used to have. Caravans and European flights.
Crusader caravans and SsangYong cars now. In Emirates we're doing quite well. Yeah, but, get on board Magpie Army. It's I might go around the ground before Adelaide Oval and try to sell a few tickets. Huh?
We can take the blanket.
Yeah.
All right. As we let you go, can you win it?
Yeah, I think we can. And like the other 8 teams would be saying the same thing. It's small margins around now, and we'll give it our best shot.
Good luck, Craig. Great to see you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Craig McRae with us on AFL 360 as the Magpies eye up a qualifying final against the Adelaide Crows. Chris Fagan is the reigning premiership coach. The Lions walk the hard roads, finished 3rd. How's Fags got them set up for the big month ahead?
The Turning Point, brought to you by Ashley and Martin.
In a heavyweight clash, Brisbane celebrate because they know they're top 4. They'll finish 3rd, and the Hawks are consigned to the bottom reaches of the 8.
To be honest with you, I think if I was to rate this home and away season, it's probably been our best ever, I reckon. With the difficulty of our draw, with the injuries that we've had, so it's been a high degree of difficulty, and to sort of come up with 16 wins and a draw and beat the teams that we've beaten and where we've beaten them, I'd rate it really highly. But as we know, we're going to finals, so a new season starts and none of that really matters.
Coaches, thanks to video messaging platforms, Swish surprised Dad with a personalised video this Father's Day. They're Burnborough, I reckon. They've defied the handicapper. They've carried the big weights.
You have to go with wings. Not many people know who Burnborough is.
She didn't have to carry 67 like the Lions did. Chris Fagan, it's great to have you back on 360. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Now, the final siren on Sunday night, the end of the big campaign to finish that. You couldn't get any of your players to go with you, Fakes.
I noticed that when I watched the replay back. I'd been feeling pretty tense for a few weeks about the whole thing. A couple of weeks ago, I thought, gee, we might not make it here. And so to get those couple of wins, I think it was just me getting a bit excited, showing a bit of relief. They didn't sort of identify with that emotion.
We're seeing Levi Ashcroft. He's got like a worried look on his face of a first-year player thinking, should I react to the coach? Sam Day doesn't know what to do. I think it's Marshall's the other one. Who's just he took a step aside, and the siren's gone. Now they're starting to laugh and have a bit of a joke with you. But that is the culmination of a home and away season that you declared as the best you've ever had. I reckon that's it's a powerful statement. It doesn't, as you say, new season starts, and Craig said the same thing, but for the moment to reflect like you did, it spoke volumes of what was a pretty tough year for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard straight away. If you've won the premiership the year before, we know it's hard to back up. So that alone is a tough assignment, because everyone's trying to beat you and take away your strengths. But, just the number of injuries that we've had this year, the difficulty of our draw. We played, I think, 6 of our double-up games were all against top 10 sides. We had 3 5-day turnarounds during the season, which is equal most of any side, along with Essendon. So there are a lot of challenges there, and we managed to get through it with 16.5 wins. I think our best home and away season, I think, was 23. We had 17 wins, but I don't think it was anywhere near as hard, the draw that we had that year, as it was to what we've had this year. So very pleased with the group and proud of what they've been able to achieve, and they've stood up under some real pressure in the last few weeks.
And it's taken all of them to do it, Chris. So that team that we saw on Sunday night has a critical mass of young players, which is fascinating for the now and also for the future. How have you been able to do it?
Oh, look, I think our leaders and our more experienced players have stood up well, and I know we had a lot of players 22 years of age or under playing the other night, but they're high-quality players, those guys. Darcy Wilmot, the Ashcroft brothers, Jasper Fletcher, Logan Morris, Sammy Marshall. I can't name them all, but they are really good players at a very young age. So, they play sort of beyond their years in some ways. So that's probably it. They're talented and they're committed, and they back themselves in.
I think that's what strikes me most about them is I still think that Will Ashcroft's underrated, and then we saw what Bailey did in recent weeks, and Rayner's had a couple of second halves where you just go, wow. And, we know they're good players, but I think when you dig really deep, the way how clean they are, if we want to get into the mechanics of the game, and how well they use the ball, and they put a real high value on possession, none more so than the man being carried off here, Dane Zorko. So it goes right throughout the side. I think your ball retention and how well you protect it when you win it is as good as I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Well, we pride ourselves in that. We train for it. It's evident in games. I think we have a few different ways that we can play now as we've developed along as a group. We can sort of change things midstream. During the game, if our kick game's not working, we can move to more of a run and carry handball sort of game. So I think that's the good thing about the group of players that we've got there. They're an intelligent group with great game sense, and it makes them easy to coach.
And you said a week or two ago to us that they're a very modest group in as much as they don't get carried away. So they've won a premiership, they've come back and got to work, and as you said, put together a season that you haven't seen before. Speaks volumes to the character and where their heads are at.
Yeah, I mean, you always worry when you win a premiership. I think that your group suddenly feels entitled because they get a lot of attention and a lot of pats on the back, and it's sort of unbelievable really how all that works. I've found that myself. So we talked about it straight after the game about getting confidence from winning a premiership but staying humble, and how that will help us going forward. I've sort of pounded that theme all year. They just have the leadership group, and I think they've set a great example in that regard. And I felt like the way that we played on Sunday night, and there was a passage late in the game there. I think it ended up in a Ryan Lester tackle. The desperation we showed just demonstrated how much it meant to us to try and get that double chance. And as a coach, you feel very happy when you see it, and it sort of builds that belief within the group that you can stand up to most things. So we're in a good position, and we're going to try and make the most of it now, but it's going to be tough.
7 finals campaigns. You've had some experience at this in recent times, Chris. How have you learnt, or what have you learnt about this week, and how have you sort of framed the move from home and away to finals as the years have gone on, and and how you'll go about it now?
Yeah, so the players are having a few days off at the moment. We'll see them on Thursday. I think next Monday I'll just do a little bit of a review of the season and try and point out the reasons why I think we're a strong chance to be really competitive throughout the final series, to give them a bit of confidence. I've got a little thing up my sleeve that I'm going to do with them as well that I won't elaborate on, but just a little bit of a theme that we'll run with. But by and large, you know, I think the group's hungry. They've been there, as you said, 7 times in a row. They've proven that they want to be there again this year. They've had a lot of experiences together that they can draw upon and talk about. And I feel like our leadership group has sort of driven a lot of the stuff this year really strongly in the background, and I'm sure they'll continue with that. So, you know, that's sort of it. We won't have too much fuss, but just really keen and enthusiastic for the finals to start again and see where it takes us.
Who of the group have surpassed your expectation? You've looked at him and thought, yeah, I knew he could do this, but here we are on the eve of the finals, and I'm pretty happy that he's with us. Have you got a name amongst the group?
Oh, look, there's a few. Our young blokes keep surprising me. I mean, Logan Morris has had an outstanding year. When you look at what he's been able to do, the number of goals he's kicked, and the way that he's played in the forward line, I think, you know, Darcy Wilmot's probably a name that doesn't get mentioned a great deal, but I think people are starting to take notice of him. He's a pretty special player, that young bloke, and he has been from the day he started. His first game was in a final, and I don't think he's missed a game since then. And you know, he's one of those guys that just takes the game on, doesn't worry too much about anything. And you know, all of them have done very, very well, but those two are real standouts to me.
We don't think that there can be a safer player in this Brisbane side than Darcy Wilmot, because not many players stick the finger in the coach's ear 3 weeks running and get away with it. He must be feeling pretty comfortable with where he sits in proceedings.
He must be. I mean, he must be lurking around waiting for the opportunity. Look, he's a real character. I just have a lot of time for him. He has a lot of fun in his life, and he loves playing footy, and you know, he puts a smile on my face. And you know, sometimes as the coach he can get a bit serious, so I welcome guys like him around the footy club just to bring a bit of lightness to the place. And if you know, hopefully there's a few more wet willies to come this year.
Not since Merv Hughes and Alan Balder has there been such an unlikely pairing as Darcy Wilmot and Chris Fagan.
We're just watching his highlights, folks, and I'm not sure you've got the vision there, but he is, you know, we've got an All-Australian squad that's just been announced. You've got 5 in it, and I'm telling you, in years to come, he's going to add his name to the list, because every time you watch him, he gets better and better. You don't have to add more to it. We're just watching his highlights, and he's a joy to watch. 5 in the All-Australian, 5 in the under-22 group. Holds you in pretty good stead.
Yeah, I've thought about that the other day, especially the 5 in the All-Australian under-22 team. That's exciting for us, and you know, it means that if we keep managing our list well and look after our players well, that we should be strong for a few years to come. Yet you can't take that for granted, but certainly looks like we're well positioned at the moment. You know, with all the All-Australian guys, all of those deserve their selection in the 44. Don't know how many will get in the actual team, but I'm just glad to see guys like Josh Dunkley being recognised, and Zach Bailey. They've both had great years, and the other boys are a bit more regular in that 40, Zorko McCluggage and Harris Andrews. So grateful to have 5 guys in that squad, and hopefully a few of them get into the final team.
If they come back without McCluggage, we'll send the selectors back into a room and say, do it again. Is Lachie Neale guaranteed?
Yeah, he's the one I'm really hoping for.
Yeah. Is Lachie Neale a guarantee?
Yes, Lachie's. He is. Yeah, he'll play. Like, he was close to playing this week. I was keen for him to play, but the medical staff convinced me that we're better off to play the long game with Lachie. So the extra 2 weeks of recovery time will be great for him. He's been running around at training the last 2 weeks, really. Just probably taking a little bit easier on the kicking on that leg, but he's already started to ramp that up. So we look forward to having him back, and also Jared Berry.
All right, so it's Geelong, and we'll leave it here because Chris Scott's about to join us, but 3 prelims in 5 years and now a qualifying final. So you've had a look at each other on these big stages, haven't you?
Yeah, we have, and Geelong have mostly had the better of us in finals until last year, and you know, I'm sure that'll be motivational to them, but it will be very motivational to us to be able to prove that we can do it more than once. So it should make for a great contest. We have a really good rivalry, and yeah, we look forward to, what is it, 10 or 12 days' time, I guess, at the MCG. It should be a big crowd, and I think it's the only game on in Melbourne. Hopefully all the Lions supporters get there, and we have a reasonable share of support amongst the crowd.
All right, we look forward to seeing you on Friday week, Fags. Thanks as ever for your time.
And your Fags.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.
Good on you. Chris Fagan, reigning premiership coach, taking his side back to a qualifying final. The other side of that coin is next. Chris Scott took about consistent excellence. The Cats have been that under his reign, and here they are contending again. Second place finish. What might they parlay that into the qualifying final across the next month? They are the perennials at this time of year. Sustained excellence in style and personnel, and some of the game's big stars heading towards September. Those who have been there and done it before, and the new addition that has electrified the Cats throughout the season, bound for his own honours in the month to come. How do they shape up in season 2025? It's worth saying this again out loud, Gaz. 15 seasons in charge, 13 final series, 11 top 4 finishes and 7 in the top 2. That's what he has orchestrated.
You love your cricket, Gerard. This man will just deflect down the third man. And
century after century.
I'm glad you read that out. That is...
Chris Scott, great to have you back on 360. Welcome.
Always good to be with you guys. Thanks.
So congratulations on another top 2 finish. I hope we don't all take it for granted. I hope you don't let it pass without some sort of acknowledgement as well as in this competition to keep the team at such a high level.
Look, I don't, Gerard, but I think the thing I'll push back on is just the individual nature of the recognition. I think it's something that our club should be proud of. And when you've been in an organisation for a long time, you just realise how many people or how many high performers you need to perform consistently well as a club. So I feel privileged to be the spokesperson for that a lot of the time. But, you know, we don't have really Mitch Duncan still on our list. I think he's the only one from when I started at the end of 2010 that's left. So there's been a lot of transformation on field and certainly off field as well. But, you know, maybe our board and our executive leadership team don't get enough credit in the way that they've, you know, allowed us to do our job, you know, without worrying about other parts of the organisation.
Well, you do it, and you do it better than anyone. It's an unbelievable record. From the outside, we're all a bit fascinated, and you are so calm when you coach, and I read recently where, true or not, you've raised your voice twice in that period of time. Maybe that's not quite accurate, but the way, you know, I put binoculars on you all the time, and you just seem to have everything under control. I want to know how you challenge the group then, you know, and who do you challenge and who do you go to and how do you challenge them if it's not, you know, outwardly in an overt fashion?
Well, I think of it in a couple of ways. One, I'm always reminded when I was a child, and I was never really that concerned, not that my parents ever really raised their voice to Brad and I when we were young, but when they were calm and stern, that was when you really needed to be careful. And Lee Matthews was a bit like that as well, you know, and probably as I've evolved, well, actually, it's not really about evolution because I've always really, I was 34 when I started, so I really considered the senior players at Geelong to be my peers. I never really thought of it as me being their boss. So it's always been a partnership, especially with the senior players. And I've never really felt like my role was to be the motivator or the disciplinarian. And maybe I've been lucky. I've always had a group of senior players in particular that were really driven, self-started kind of guys. And they embraced the idea of, you know, our coaching group and our senior playing group being in partnership together, and if anything, you know, they kind of had the lead when it came to, you know, the authority in the way we did things. We always thought it was our job to work for them. So in that context, it just never made any sense that I needed to yell and scream at them.
Yeah, I suspect it's no fluke. I think in the end that, your list managers do such an outstanding job in marrying the talent to the coach as well. Would there be an element of that? I mean, I see the personalities that have been brought in. It's the Dangerfields and the Camerons. Bailey Smith might be a little bit different, but they all seem to come together and play in that same calm, level-headed manner.
Yeah, hopefully there's been a lot of thought that's gone into that and that's paid off. But they are different, those guys. I mean, there are some similarities in the players you've mentioned, and we've been quite open in the fact that, you know, we've embraced the fact that we are a bit different, at least geographically, as a football club, and that turns off a few players and people who enjoy the city life. But it's very, very, encouraging to guys that, prefer that sort of lifestyle. And we've always tried to mould the way we do things, around that. There's no point saying that, you can come down and have this lifestyle and then it's a completely different environment once you're in the footy club. We think we have been pretty relaxed. We've given them a little bit of room. But more important than that, we've embraced the individual. So I think it would be easier if you sort of pointed to guys like Jeremy Cameron and Paddy Dangerfield, who were never drawn to the big smoke, except for Bailey Smith coming in, who's sort of, he's embracing the lifestyle down here. There's no doubt about that. But it's more a function of us letting players be who they are. And I think once you do that, they understand that, that in a partnership, you've got to do your bit as well. And they understand the framework through which we try to operate. And Bailey's a good example of that. I think he has been able to, show his natural flair at the right time, but still, embrace who we want to be as a footy club.
You know this precipice as well as we move from home and away into the final series. What is the sense of preparedness for the campaign of 2025?
Well, we're never overconfident. I think that's a big mistake to make, but there's only so much that you can have complete control of at this time of year, and availability is a big one. We feel that we're in pretty good shape there. We've had good continuity, and I guess the only downside to continuity is that you can go a long period of time with players who may come into your team not getting AFL minutes, and we've even been able to do that over the last few weeks with Jed Hughes coming in last week, Mitch Nevitt, Jai Clark. We feel like, we don't even know what the perfect preparation looks like, but we're certainly going into the next phase pretty confident that we've given ourselves every chance.
So I was looking at your first premiership team. You had Harry Taylor at centre half back and you had Tom Hawkins, 23-year-old forward. And then I fast forward now and you've got Conor O'Sullivan at 20 years of age and potentially Shannon Neal coming back in at 23. It sort of speaks to your capacity to regenerate as you run through here. And it's sort of also indicative of what your club's been able to do. It's not bottom out. It's to stay at the top and identify talent, get them in and give them responsibility.
Yeah, and I think also embrace the fact that it's going to look different. I'm like Jonathan Brown. I keep going back to Lee Matthews. But he would constantly reference the fact that if you're looking back, and he used to get frustrated when players used to say, when we were playing well 6 months ago, we were doing this. Because, 6 months ago is ancient history in modern footy. And we think we've got a bit of a model that we work towards. But again, more important than that is staying agile and taking the opportunities when they present. I mean, at the start of 22, I certainly couldn't have predicted that Sam De Koning would be the player that he was by the end of that year. And even at the start of this year, it wasn't sort of my plan. I think a few of our assistant coaches were a bit more bullish than I was, but I just had such faith in College Asney and Jack Henry and Sam De Koning. And it wasn't that I didn't have faith in Connor. I just couldn't see how we were going to get him into the team. And through an injury or two or three early on, he got his chance and just hasn't looked back. And Shannon Neal's a little bit the same. So I think, it's folly to think about what the perfect model is and then try to go and find those players. We've found that it's much better to have a look at what you've got and try to maximise that as much as possible. And, Shannon's such an important player to us now. He's, he's the whole package, he's 203 centimetres and an elite runner. It just allows us to play, in a way that, we hadn't necessarily considered previously. And, you know, even that's different to what it was 2 or 3 years ago. So that evolution's been something that's been interesting to us and certainly kept us on our toes.
It's a loaded matchup. You've seen plenty of each other, Geelong and the Brisbane Lions, particularly in September. It's tipped in the Lions' favour in recent times, but does it cause you a few headaches in the 10 days to go?
Yeah, I wouldn't push back against anyone that said that at their best they're the best team in it. But we do have some confidence that the last few times we've played them, we've either had issues that we think are unlikely to happen again, or even the last time, we played really poorly. I thought they were very good, by the way, and they certainly contributed to us not being able to play our game. But even then, in a bit of a dirty night for us, we probably got enough shots to at least give ourselves a chance to win the game. So I'd be surprised if either team was overconfident in terms of their system versus the other. But again, I'm more than happy to tip my lid to them in terms of how good they've been over the last few years. We've got a lot of respect for them, and consider it a privilege that we have built a bit of a rivalry. And rivalries, real rivalries, not the made-up ones. The real rivalries only come together when you've got two teams who are in contention. So it's a privilege to be considered one of them.
We look forward to the next instalment of it. See you Friday week at the G, Chris. Thanks.
Look forward to that. Thanks.
Chris Scott, the third of our premiership coaches, on duty tonight. Tomorrow we will be in the countdown to the final game of the home and away season. Gold Coast must win to see September action for the first time. Damien Hardwick will join us in the build-up to it. Essendon are their foe. They've got a couple back staggering towards the end. Can the Suns finish the deal and book the last place in this final series?
One last time, for shits and giggles. Let's do it.
Everyone's, as flat as a shit carters. There's no doubt about that.
I didn't think we had any chance. Thanks, I can say that now.
Chris, jump in the middle here, mate.
You make me look like I'm about 3 foot tall.
Footy treatment of the plans? Yes. Probably a fair bit of piss, to be honest. And then...
What is it about this group that every time you've been doubted, guys are responding?
I don't really know what to say, but I reckon
Say great coaching.
Yeah. Have a look at Tin Man over here. There it is. Look at the barrel. They're off to see the wizard.
What would you say is this team's strength?
I'll come back to you, Baz.
Oh, man.
The highest scoring draw. How did it end?
Oh,
Sticks missed a lot. Thanks for giving it away with the early button press.
Did have a bit of end of school about it the last round.
Yes,
got loose.
Always does.
Midweek tackle, so the fresh material to work with tonight for them, as Liam Ryan has told West Coast that he's out. Wisp told you this last week, he's going to St Kilda.
He did. He said straight up he's going to be at St Kilda next year.
All right, so they come into their own at this time of year on the
midweek
tackle.
Saints. They do. They got a new wardrobe, I think. They're that keen to get on there.
All right, Lauren Wood, it's all yours.